Um, initially the support and information came from my dietitian at the hospital, and looking on dietitian websites, and again just Google searching, bringing up information as much as you can. Surprisingly, with it being one of the most common food allergies in infants, you'd expect there to be a lot of support out there for parents. We actually found it quite difficult, or I certainly found it quite difficult to speak to anybody else who was in the same situation. The best place I found is Facebook. There's a couple of groups on there orientated to parents, but it is quite a lonely experience to begin with. That's something that's changing. The awareness of cow's milk protein allergy is becoming more, but there's still a long way to go, I think. But if you're searching for a parent group, certainly Facebook or Google is your first point of call. There are groups that can just sometimes be quite difficult to find. In the beginning, no. It took me a long time to find anybody who had a similar experience. I joined various forums for parents on the internet, and you'd find the odd parent who'd got a child with similar issues, but they'd generally disappear. So you'd maybe speak to somebody for a couple of days in a row, and then they'd disappear and you wouldn't be able to speak to that same person again. Facebook's been quite helpful. I've found a few parents on Facebook, but it's quite challenging to find a whole group of people. And when I have found people, they're almost certainly the best people to ask for advice, because they've been through it. So it's difficult, but after hard trawling, you find other parents in the same situation. There is food that you can feed your children. The best thing to do is cook from scratch, and if you're struggling for recipes, vegans, follow vegan recipes, because they don't eat milk, they don't eat cheese, so you can find a lot of good ideas for replacements and ideas for recipes, because you can alter a recipe with a milk replacement, but it doesn't always work. If you go to a vegan cookbook or a vegan website for recipes, they've tried and tested, and I found some really, really good alternatives to normal foods on vegan websites. Other things would be to always make sure that you've got snacks that you know your child can eat if you're going on a day trip, and always take a packed lunch just in case, because some places are pretty well equipped for people with dietary problems, but a lot of the time if you're going on day trips, there's nothing that a child with cow's milk allergy can eat. So if you've always got something, just be prepared. Top tips for living with the allergy is, when you're out shopping, always read every label, even if it's a product that you've had before and you think it's safe. Ingredients can change from week to week. But if you do find something that your child can have, buy as many as you possibly can at the time if it's something that's not going to perish. Also, the expense side of it, things can be quite expensive, so if there's offers on anything, which does sometimes happen, buy as many as you can, because you'll save yourself a lot of money. Tips for finding other people. Facebook is great for finding groups, for sharing
stories with other parents. It's great for getting information from the manufacturer of whichever formula milk. I think most of the formula milk companies have a page on there, and they're always really helpful. But yeah, groups and speaking to other people in a similar situation, because people who don't have allergies in the family don't often understand quite how difficult it is to deal with an allergy.